Good morning, Sheila. How are you today?
Good morning, Wayne. I'm great. How are you today?
I am fantastic, if you will.
Wonderful.
Yes. And welcome everyone to 27 Minutes with Sheila and Wayne, where we explore the fascinating world of verbs and their impact on our daily lives. Join us each week as we delve into the different ways that verbs shape our language and influence what we do. As we are attempting to make a positive difference in our world, one verb at a time.
Yes.
And Sheila, I have to tell you, our world is increasing. we
Tell me.
we have two countries that have listened to our podcast.
All
That
right.
is Bangladesh and New Caledonia.
Welcome, Bangladesh and New Caledonia.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's been a while since we've read the list of countries that have been listened to us. So
Okay.
if you don't mind, I'll read that right
Oh,
now, real
please
quick.
do. Yep.
All
Yep.
right. These are to our fabulous countries that have listened to us: the United States, China, Ukraine, Czech Republic, New Zealand, Russia, South Africa, Germany, Costa Rica, Spain, Brazil, Greenland, Canada, Japan, France, the United Kingdom, Switzerland, Poland, Mexico, India, Italy, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Australia, Kenya, Philippines, Chile, Norway, Bangladesh, New Caledonia, Liechtenstein, Uzbekistan, the British Indian Ocean Territory, Argentina, Turkey, Nigeria, Ireland, Denmark, and Hungary.
Wow.
Wow, really? Yes, I can't believe it. Can't believe it. And this is podcast number 174. So hopefully
Another wow.
another one, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And I have to ask,
All right.
how can our listeners contact you with questions and comments?
Oh, thank you. I can be reached at zekeandsheila@yahoo.com.
And I can be reached at Wayne at mindsyncing.com. That's MINDSYNCING.com. And Sheila, what is our verb for today?
Our verb today has been called a shapeshifter because it's used in so many ways.
Ooh.
It is to pass.
To pass.
To pass.
And you're right. And I have a plethora of
Can I
definitions.
tell you, I'm leaving all the definitions for you. I found at least 29 definitions, depending on whether used with or without an object. So
Okay.
I'm gonna let you handle all of those.
All right. I have about 12 or 13 that I wrote down here.
Oh,
So
good. Okay, good.
I'm with you. I stopped. I'm like, okay, I'm
Yep.
done.
Yep.
This is going to be all the podcast just saying the
I
definitions.
know.
To go past something or someone or move in relation to it, him or her. To go past a particular point in time. To go past something by being greater in amount or degree. To be successful in an exam, course, or etc. To give something to someone. To move, proceed, or go. To move in a path so as to approach and continue beyond something, so moving past. To go or make one's way through. To render a decision, verdict, or opinion. To go from the control, ownership, or possession of one person or group to that of another. And my last two, to become approved by a legislative or body empowered to sanction or reject. And lastly, to be accepted or regarded. Wow.
Ooh,
So many ways we use
no
this word.
kidding.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And again, that's what makes this so fun because there are so many perspectives to look at, right?
Yes, absolutely.
From each verb that we encounter, it's just really cool. So I'm enjoying it, and it's still fun. Ladies,
Yeah, it is
ladies
for
and
us
gentlemen,
anyway.
ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, Sheila and I have so much fun. And again, we're not in the same spaces. She's in her office. I'm in my office,
Right.
and we're 5 or 6 miles away from
Yep.
each other. And we don't look at each other's notes.
Nope.
This is just really fun. It really
Yep.
is.
In fact, we have to not talk to each other regularly in order to not come up with this, discuss the podcast.
Right. Yes. So, um, and what were your initial thoughts when you came up with
Oh
the
my gosh.
randomly generated verb pass?
I like to look back in my week and see where I've used pass. And so the topics of conversation in our household have been passing a kidney stone,
Ooh,
passing the location of the future Bucky's in Fredericksburg, Virginia,
okay.
passing part of the week out of town,
Ah,
passing judgment on what I packed for my trip out of town, and passing time at the airport. How about you?
okay. You know what? I had fun with this. I really did. Because I said, okay, pass. And my first inclination was the baton
Oh,
because I used to run track and I loved the
right.
relays, and I still watch the relays as though I'm participating today. But
Do you find
those are
yourself moving your arms in synchronization?
absolutely. And then I cringe when our team drops
Oh,
the baton. Oh no, you
oh.
can't do that. It's called disqualification, but that's okay.
Yeah. Mm.
so so I was excited about that, and I was excited because obviously from my past experiences and past things that I used to do and
Mhm.
sometimes still do, um, passing the baton in business
Mhm.
came to my initial mind as well, and I thought,
Mhm.
okay, how do I fuse the two? And I said, oh, okay, let me do some research. Excuse me. And so I found a way to do that, and
Okay.
it is now we have all heard the terms for team dynamics when you
Right.
get a new group together. Have you heard? I'm sure you've heard this before. Forming, storming.
Yes.
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 And then there's
Norming and performing. Yeah.
exactly. Do you have any more?
Well, Fred, my husband, told me that the two of you had been discussing that topic and you came up with another one.
I did. Okay. I offered the other one. I
Oh,
didn't come up
yes.
with it.
Right, right.
Yes, because I learned it as forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning.
Ah, yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
said, okay, since I like track and I like leadership and I was a follower and a leader and still a follower and a leader, I said, I need to find some articles here on passing the baton in leadership. Another way to say that, succession planning.
Mm-hmm.
Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't realize that they need to be succession planning
Yes.
almost as soon as they start.
Right. If your goal is for the organization to succeed, yes, you're right.
Exactly. So I did. I found I found a lot of articles, as a matter of fact, and very, very complimentary they were to each other. And so I only selected two, but
Okay.
I will talk about them. And you know what? I know you have some quotes. I know you have some great things for us. And I know last time I talked too much.
Oh, I doubt that.
So I'm going to offer you, please go ahead and let us hear from you first, and if you want,
Okay.
because I know you probably have notes that you're going to tear up and throw away, and we're not even going to talk about. So please go ahead and start.
Well, first of all, one trivia note is that the crossword solver, I guess that's an online tool, found 60 answers when the word pass is used as a crossword puzzle cue.
Wow.
So, whew. Okay, I want to talk first of all about if your password, since I'm pass, is easily hacked.
Ah,
And there are a couple of groups. Twingate listed the 200 most common passwords in 2020. Now, note that cyber criminals for the year 2021 was a record number for cyber criminals who obtained more stolen usernames and passwords than ever before.
mm,
So I'm going to go through not the 200. Don't worry, I'm not going to list all those 200 words, but of the 200 words that they researched, 45% of them had only letters, as in no numbers or other signs.
okay.
For what it's worth, by the way, the FBI recommends using passphrases because longer passwords take longer for criminals to crack than complex ones. So it doesn't matter if you've got numbers, signs, and a four-letter password. They want it to be longer.
Okay.
Also, about 65% of US adults admitted to using the same passwords across many of their websites. So
Okay.
that's according to a 2018 Google survey. So these are notes of what not to do. So going back to the 200, 45% of those use only letters, 28 only numbers, and 27% use both letters and numbers. Many of them don't have any symbols or signs.
Okay.
Many of the most common passwords contain nouns, personal names,
Ooh.
names of organizations, and I don't have the most common names here, but you'd be surprised. Okay, and 39% of the top 200 used passwords contain keyboard patterns, and those are like adjacent keys on the keyboard or key, above or below,
Ah, yes.
which are just easy to type out. But and while it's less common, about 2% of the top 200 passwords use the word password. So, so if your password is on this list, you're an easy hacking target. And there are any number of multiples of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. So you can use four of those, five of those, six of those. Those are a lot of them. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 is a big one.
That doesn't work?
Doesn't work. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 is used a lot.
Okay, I'm going to
Um,
change that.
one frequent one is I love you.
Oh,
For
really?
whatever, yeah, yeah. And for whatever reason, Aaron, AARON 431 is a commonly used one.
No
I don't
kidding.
know why. Password one is used frequently, and QQWW1122 is used frequently or is easily hacked. Easily hacked.
Huh.
So Senha, SENHA, is easily hacked. QWERTY, QWERTY, is easily hacked, which is,
Okay.
of course, the top row of your keyboard. So, anyway, I thought it was interesting because I think it's really important to protect yourself
Yes.
from your own challenging creativity or
So we should
creativity challenges.
so we
Yes.
should pass on those
Right, right.
passwords.
And because they call them bad actors, and all of this, by the way, is I mentioned the Twin Gate study, but this is an article by Dom DiFurio in and the title is if your password is in this list, you're an easy hacking target. Credential stuffing, this is my last point on this, happens when cyber criminals buy or reuse lists of commonly used and stolen passwords and stuff them into the login fields of websites. So
Mm.
they'll just try all of these one right after the other.
Huh.
Credential stuffing. So a new term for me.
Okay. So
So
way to go, Twin Gate.
yes.
Yes.
So what's your next point?
Oh, well, my first article
Your first article.
is Passing the Baton, A
Okay.
Leader's Guide to Ensuring a Smooth Transition by
Okay.
Mike Cruz.
Okay.
And I thought, yay, this is it. And so, and at the end, I do have some pro tips that I have
Love your
incorporated
pro
myself.
tips.
Oh,
Great.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. But Mike says, step number one in passing the baton as a leader, document everything. Your leadership, this is your leadership blueprint.
Okay.
He says, meet with your successor. So passing the baton with
Good.
wisdom. I like
Okay.
that.
Mhm.
He says, communicate with your team. Let them know what's happening and let them know who the new person may or may not be, which I think obviously is very, very cool. He says, prepare a transition plan, setting the course. And he says, step five, stay engaged, passing the baton's
Mm.
legacy. So even though you have moved on, still kind of say to your previous team and to the person who your successor,
Mhm.
hey, I'm available. Here's my number. Here's my email. Here's my what. Contact me if you have any questions or comments. I'm here for you. And I think those are all cool. And he gave us three coaching questions to ask
Oh.
as you're doing this. He says, "What essential knowledge and insights must you pass on to your successor?" I thought, yes, that's very, very cool.
Hmm.
The next one he says is, how can you communicate your reasons for leaving and reassure your team about the transition? And the third one, he says, what strategies can you implement to ensure a smooth handover and support your successor effectively? And you know what? As I looked at that, I said, that's kind of cool. But
Hmm.
in today's day and age of technology and shifting and moving, people change jobs at light speed almost anymore.
That's true.
And so I'm not sure if they have all this time. And looking at both articles, I'm going to say this as well. This is if everything is going according to the great plan, and
Hmm.
everything is running
Yeah.
like the engine is humming. Because as you know, and I know, and everyone listening to us knows, things are not so easy.
Right.
and and everything is not honky dory, if you will. It is just uh, the dynamics changed and shift so fast,
Yes.
and these
And
are
you're not always leaving on good terms.
exactly. So this is looking at if everything is perfect, running
Right.
well, and you know what, somebody has waved that magic wand and said, "Oh, this is just so wonderful," and we'll just all move on. So keep that in mind
I
as
will. Thank you.
as I'm saying these things.
Okay.
Okay, so that was my first article. How about you? What do you have for us?
You talked about passing a test.
Uh huh.
For whatever reason, my mind settled on how to pass a lie detector test.
Oh,
Don't know why this is important to me. I guess I was watching a movie, but movies are not accurate, and some
they're
things that they suggest
they're
you
not.
do. I know it doesn't work if you bite your tongue and are in pain throughout the test. That's not a good technique.
Ooh.
It doesn't work if you put a tack in your shoe and step on it to use pain to affect your blood pressure. That doesn't affect your perspiration levels because all of these other things are being measured. So, know your tells, if you will. If you play poker and people can beat you, it's because you've got a tell, which you've got a facial expression or a tick or something,
Aha.
a
Yes.
nervous pattern that means you are truthful or not truthful. So know thine self.
Okay.
But there are two ways this article suggests. And they say don't go to the internet to look for ways to do this. So, of course, this is from the internet. But the two good ways are to be completely zen. This is number one, no matter what you're asked. And
Okay.
the note is most people cannot master this. So the second technique, which is evidently more effective, is be completely distraught throughout the entire test.
Oh, wow.
I know. And it says you need to up your game to stimulate feelings of mortal terror.
Oh, my goodness.
It says because beating the test is all about mind games which affect your physical responses. So here are some tips to try to stay in mortal terror. Now, again, if this is for a job interview, maybe not the right time to
Maybe
use
not,
this
huh?
tool. Oh, no, no, no. All right. Your best bet is to stay upset, fearful, and confused through the test, but appear calm and in control, which is kind of how I work my way through life.
Oh, okay.
Remember your worst experience or solve difficult math problems in your head,
Oh,
whatever keeps you in a constant state of excitation and stress.
okay.
If there's one particular question you're worried about, imagine every question is that question before you answer it.
Mm.
So, they're asking three kinds of questions. Diagnostic test are control questions like what is your name? What is
Yes.
today's date? Um, so, on diagnostic questions, answer yes to most of those. Most people answer yes. But, and there are things like, have you ever taken anything from your workplace? Have you ever lied to get out of trouble? Well, most people are going to say yes. And that is the accurate answer. So, whenever you answer questions, answer firmly and without hesitation or humor. Be cooperative, but don't joke or act overly friendly. Answer just yes or no when possible, and don't explain your answers or give details or explanations.
Mm.
If
Okay.
they ask you to expand on a question, say, what more do you want me to say? Or, or say, there's really nothing to say about that.
There's nothing to
Again,
see here.
again, not for job interviews.
Okay.
Okay. If you're accused of lying, don't fall for it. They
Ah.
want you to feel upset or confused. So be prepared to ask the question further. Finally, practice with a friend beforehand.
Oh
Be aware of your breathing and how you react to different kind of questions.
no.
So there you go.
Okay.
And if you're a sociopath or psychopath, you're going to be excluded. If you have that diagnosis, you can be excluded from polygraph tests.
Oh really?
Yes, yeah. Or if you have, are taking certain medication or have heart disease or have had a stroke, especially if you're having one during the test.
Ah.
So, so there you go. You're
Excellent.
welcome.
Well, thank you. My next one, I will be practicing all of those tips.
All of those
Yes.
things. Forget the tack. Take that tack out of your shoe.
Yeah, the
Not going to
tack and
work.
the shoe. Yeah. Plus, your sock gets bloody. So,
Yeah, yeah,
yes.
a
Yeah.
mess to clean up. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Hey, I'm looking at the clock. We have 8 minutes left.
Let's let me have you say something of significance
Are
here.
you kidding me? 8 minutes left? Oh no.
Okay.
Okay. So here's my second article.
Okay.
It's Succession Planning: How to Effectively Pass the Baton of Leadership.
Good.
And this is by Karen Brown. And again, we're looking at the perfect scenario, all this good stuff.
Right.
So, please let's remember that that's what this is.
Okay.
And so what she says is the first one: determine key positions. So, and I read the whole article, and she says within the first year, and we're talking about the executive levels here, within the first year of the business being either turned over, transitioned, or starting, determine key positions that you're going to have to fill or replace someone
Good.
at some point in time. She says, initiate open conversations, identify candidates. And this is an important point here, identifying the candidates. Ask them if they want to
Good point.
be groomed for that leadership role, because if you start grooming them and they don't know that you're doing that, and all of a sudden a person leaves and says, okay, Wayne, we want you to step in and do this, and we think you're ready, you have the potential to go, and Wayne says, well, I don't want to do that. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
We have wasted a lot of time, money, and energy here. She says, identify candidates. She says, access talent. Engage the candidates, form development plans, widen the responsibility. And what that means is crafting these development plans is not solely an endeavor for the CEO or the C-suite leaders. It requires a collaborative effort with talent-developed coaches, specialists, HR professionals, and all those other individuals who are working with or around outside and inside the organization. So broaden that responsibility of everyone has not the burden, but the opportunity to to help this individual become a better whatever it is that they want them to become.
Nice.
Put board meetings on the agenda. She wants them to go to the board meetings and see how the board interacts with the execs and the rest of the organization, and see how the board reacts to them. To see how that politics works, because as you all know, everything has politics in it somewhere along the line. And the reason that I like forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning, because everything has an end.
Yes.
And if you're not planning for that end, you're way behind the power line, the power ball. She says establish KPIs, and those are the key performance indicators.
Oh, okay.
Okay. She says conduct regular reviews and updates. She says have a scorecard to streamline this process, she says, and enhance visibility. Use the scorecard for tackling the KPIs is highly recommended, so that all right, these are numbers these are things we need, the abilities and talents we need, and these are the key performing indicators that we are attributing this to, and we think Sheila can do this better than Wayne, and this is why. and they're right. She says communication and transparency, obviously. And then she says be ready for the emergency succession planning. Somebody leaves abruptly for whatever reason, and you weren't even thinking about that, and all of a sudden you have to put these things into play. Oh my goodness. And she says diversity and inclusion. And I will read this whole paragraph here. I know we have 4 minutes left. Embedding diversity and inclusion into the fabric of succession planning is not just a token gesture, but a strategic imperative. A comprehensive succession plan that embraces diversity enriches the talent pipeline, bringing a wide variety of perspectives and experiences. This diversity is a catalyst for resilience and innovation within the organization. If not, I go back to what I have said several podcasts before. If we didn't have diversity and inclusion, we would all be driving that 4-door blue sedan.
Yes, we would.
Okay. Yes. I'm looking at the clock. 3:22. Do you have any more quotes for us?
I do have some quotes, and then I want to hear your pro tips.
Okay.
Nelson Mandela said, "There is no easy walk to freedom anywhere, and many of us will have to pass through the valley of the shadow of death again and again before we reach the mountaintop of our
Ah,
desires." So that's one that's worth pondering.
I like Nelson Mandela.
Yeah, I do too. Ann Landers, professional advice giver, said, "Expect trouble as an inevitable part of life and repeat to yourself the most comforting words of all: this too shall pass."
Ooh.
And finally, Elbert Hubbard said, "The line between failure and success is so fine that we scarcely know when we pass it, to find that we are often on the line and do not even know it." So
Ah,
there we go.
they're right.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay. Okay. So I have 226, and I'm
okay,
going to go through my little list of five things here really
great,
quickly, and
great.
then I'll turn it over to you to say, give us oh, because you typically give us a challenge for the next week. I wonder if you have
Oh,
one. Anyway,
don't have one. Okay.
here's my pro tips. If you are going to be leaving and you know you're going to be leaving, you need to have a confidential talk with your boss or the board. Give them a hard stop date
Yeah.
because then you need that way you can shoot for something. So we got to get
Yes.
Wayne trained up because on
Yep.
June 17th, I'm gone. All right.
Yes. So many people are date driven, deadline driven.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. We need to observe, see the potential that's out there. The person doesn't have to have the attributes and talents that you need right now, but you can see the potential in them, and we can nurture that, groom them, give them experience, send them to classes, give them coaching, give them all those tips, and they will be ready to transition. They won't be ready for the job, but they will
Mhm.
be ready to transition, having those new skills with them. Ask the question, do you want this?
Mhm.
Invite individuals, introduce them to, when you do pick your successor, um, introduce them to the people that you interact with every day, every week, get the important ones, and commitment. Make a commitment to make sure that you give this person every opportunity to succeed.
Yes.
And anyway, I stop. I'm leaving you with 45 seconds. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
Ooh,
I just want to say thank you for passing some time with us, folks who are listening.
yes.
But we really do appreciate both your listening and your feedback. Welcome to the new countries who have representatives listening. And Wayne, as always, thank you very much.
And thank you, Sheila. And yes, New Caledonia and Bangladesh. Hey, thank you very much. And we hope to see more. Thank you, Sheila. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Wayne.
Bye bye.